good. I really loved that movie.
Absolutely. It was so good.
And everything was fantastic, and that's why Spielberg can do whatever he wants.
Right, yeah.
I heard that. No. No, he can't. He cannot.
It is Spielberg. It'll be great.
It should have never been.
It is Spielberg. It'll be great.
We'll see then.
Hi everybody, welcome to Tavern Talk. My name is Gerry Bruno. I am a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller, I'm a creative director, and I'm here with my lovely wife.
Hi, I'm Jenny, lover of all things musical theater. I have a BFA in musical theater and teach locally voice and piano and direct some things, and I'm just lifelong theater lover. West Side Story is one of my favorite musicals.
Lifelong film lover, and Steven Spielberg is one of my favorite directors.
So this union comes...
Yeah, so let's start this. When we first found out that Spielberg was making West Side Story, Jenny and I had this very huge disagreement because, I mean, seriously, when's the last time Steven Spielberg made a dud?
He's my also.
Probably in the 80s. And Jenny...
My point was, why would you remake a classic film that is known as one of the best musicals ever made, won 10 Oscars, I believe. I mean, what's the point? Why
This film
now?
is going to win Oscars, I'm telling you.
So in any event, we had some bets going on and some disagreements.
Yes.
So it seemed like kismet when Philip asked us to come and take a look.
I thought right from the bat that this was going to be an HIT hit, and I think I'm right. I mean, this movie was fantastic. It from top to bottom was fantastic.
So West Side Story is a remake of the 1961 film, and which was based on the Broadway musical, which was based on Romeo and Juliet, really.
Right.
It tells the story of Tony and Maria, who fall in love, but also there's the Jets and the Sharks. The Sharks are immigrants from Puerto Rico, new to New York City. This is the 1950s, and the Jets are kind of the local kids who are also being displaced by the building of Lincoln Center.
It's about the death of old ways and the birth of something new. And you saw that right from the get-go. In the beginning shots, you saw all the decay, the bathtubs, the buildings that were falling.
And so Tony and Maria, Tony was a part of the Jets gang and has kind of left that life, allegedly. And Maria, who is the sister of Bernardo, who's the leader of the Sharks, they meet and fall in love. And what did you think of the film, Gerry? So it sounds like you really liked it.
I did. I mean, again, Steven Spielberg is a master storyteller. I mean, from every frame, he sets the stage. Right, like I was saying from the beginning, you can see that something is dying. An old way is dying. The turf wars are dying. Even like production design, like you felt like you were in that movie. You felt that you were there. You felt that part of that story because it looked like it was supposed to look. It looked like the era there, the costumes. I mean, it's just gorgeous to look at.
And I came at this very cynically, I have to admit, but I really liked it. So I will admit that I was wrong. That doesn't happen, right? Ever?
No, hardly ever happens.
Because I'm never wrong.
Yeah.
But I was wrong about this. I loved it. I thought it was I've seen the original film probably about 100 times.
Theater probs.
I've seen the theatrical production, and I felt like I was watching something really new. Even though they stayed true to the Jerome Robbins choreography.
Which is, I mean, can we just talk about that for a second? Because that choreography is so brilliant, so beautiful. Even like they're in the streets, and it's like they own the streets. They take up the whole space. They move down the streets. It's just so fantastic to look at, so colorful, so amazingly how they move.
And it was really kind of groundbreaking for Jerome Robbins to use dance as such a big part of a show like this, to really like propel the plot forward. But I really loved how they stayed true to that original choreography, but it still felt different. Like they took the song America from the top of the rooftop, and they moved it into the streets, and they involved all sorts of other like it's just really Anita and her friends, and then Bernardo and his friends, but they had kids, and they had all these people joining and watching and circling. And so I really loved that number. And can we just talk about what a national treasure Rita Moreno is for a second?
When she sings that song at the end, it just broke my heart, because spoilers. She realizes that the hope is lost. People are dying, and she just broke my heart when she was singing that song.
And they really did. In the original production, Doc is played by a man, and they changed that role and gave her so much more to do with it.
Yeah.
And so she sings a number that Tony and Maria usually sing, and it just works. When she started, I was like, ooh, this works.
What did you think about Tony, Ansel Egbert, I think his name is? I actually didn't like him. I thought that he was a little awkward. I thought that everybody had this beautiful passion in every frame, and he felt like he just couldn't find his footing.
I disagree slightly. I didn't think he was that bad, and I think that Tony is a role that really doesn't fit anyway. So that's a hard character to play.
Why do you say that?
Well, he was a part of this, but he's not a part of. He's a part of the Jets, but now he's really not. He's trying to get out. He's not a part of Maria's world. He's trying to find his place.
Yeah.
What I really liked about the film as well was that a lot of these characters in the original film, you don't get Tony was in prison.
Right.
You don't get Tony did this.
Sure.
You don't get that whole backstory. And so there were some things happening with characters just that were more developed, like conversations that were happening, even between Riff, who I really liked.
Riff was fantastic.
He just had this haunting look, but he was also, you could see the anger and the hunger and I just really bought that these kids, in the original production, you don't really get that they're like nitty gritty. I don't know, like street gang. They kind of look clean cut ish.
Right.
And here, like from the very beginning, they're smeared with dirt. They're surrounded by junk. What I didn't like was that they gave the cool song. That's a Riff song.
Yes.
And they gave it to Tony, and I suppose the way that they used that song for Tony kind of worked.
I thought it did work. I think you're right. I wish Riff would have sung that, but it works for Tony because he is trying to keep everybody level-headed at that point. Mm-hmm. I think it worked. That whole scene, though, that again going back to choreography, just like sliding on the board, it just felt so natural and felt everything just moved beautifully. I love the way Spielberg stages his shots. I mean, there's that scene when Tony and Maria are on the banister, on the fire escape.
Yes.
And you could see like they were talking to each other, and there is a world between them, right?
It almost looked like a prison.
Yes.
Like he was on one side of the bars and she was on the other, which works with his backstory too.
It does.
I think.
It worked great. And then Anita. Mm-hmm. She is going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I will put money on that.
How much?
No. I mean, let's do it. Let's take it
I was
back.
already wrong once.
You're already wrong once.
Once.
No, I think that she was just fantastic. I mean, it's her eyes that were so expressive. She had such emotion. I mean, and the hope she had in like, I want to live in America. It's such beautiful hope, and was all destroyed at the end. And oh God, my heart broke for her. It really broke for her.
One thing I like that Spielberg did when he cast this was that
everything.
He cast.
You liked everything that he did?
There are a few things I did. All right. But he cast unknowns. Like, it wasn't like Brad Pitt playing Tony
Yeah.
or anyone really. I mean, Rita Moreno and, the actor who played Tony has been in a few things, but for the most part, I didn't know any of those faces, and I think because of that, you could really focus. I mean, it just seemed more authentic.
Yeah.
The performances seemed really authentic.
I have to say, I
liked that.
kept thinking about, boy, I bet Leonardo DiCaprio would have done such a great job with this role.
I like how you circled that back to Romeo and
I mean,
Juliet. Good job.
and again, you go back to that film, it's basically the same film.
Yeah.
It's not the same film. It's the same story. But again, so much passion in that role, right? I mean, if you love someone, God, there's that age when you're a teenager, it's your only world, right? And Maria showed it. She was just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And you're right, like he was, trapped in between worlds. He didn't know which way to go. But I felt like he was just, he was my weakest link. He really was.
I really liked the Officer Krupke number 2. What did you think
Yeah.
of that? I thought that was a lot of fun. It was in a setting that it's complete. It's not where you usually see it.
Yeah.
And I really just thought that was well done.
Yeah.
And also taking
The cloisters.
Yes,
Yeah.
taking Tony and Maria out into the city rather than in just this one space, because they're always like in her apartment or down in the
Yeah.
basement singing all these songs, and they take them to the cloisters to
Which,
do
if
that.
you haven't been, it's actually a really gorgeous place.
Yeah, and using even the subway. I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
That's new, and so just I felt like I was watching West Side Story, but everything was new and fresh, and I was thinking, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Like how is
Right. Yeah. That's
and then
true.
that final punch with
true.
the Rita Moreno singing. Oh, yes.
My heart. In Romeo and Juliet, obviously we know what happens, and in this one, again, spoiler, Tony dies, but Maria doesn't, and it feels like, not that I wanted her to die,
Wow.
but I know that's harsh, but it almost felt like that's what she would have done, right? She would have, maybe taken that gun and shot it and whatever. I don't know.
But they were true to the script.
They were true to the script.
I
yeah.
mean, there was obviously some dialogue written in. I kind of liked even the kitchen scene with Bernardo and Anita and Maria, because you don't really see a lot of that interaction so much in the original. And so I feel like the relationships were more believable to me because of some of the...
Because of Spielberg.
Or Tony Kushner, perhaps.
Oh yeah, that's him too.
Let's give him some credit. But it just felt more authentic. Yeah, that last scene, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, and you'll have to go see it. But they do something that kind of, the way that they carry Tony off, I thought that was interesting.
I mean, it's like, a very Christ-like figure, right? So even with the arm that droops down, and they take and they put it on, and then the both sides, the Jets and the Sharks, come and they take him and they carry him out with somebody leading him,
very
like
funereal.
a procession, very funereal.
Yeah.
The
They also really developed the Chino character.
They did.
In the original production. Like, you don't know much about Chino. He shows up, he likes Maria, then he shows up at the end and shoots, and that's it. Like, you got he's studying to be an accountant, and he really was pretty kind of sympathetic.
Right.
Way more sympathetic than in the original production.
Yeah, but when he does shoot Tony, then you realize he's doing it for pride, right? He needs to be in this world. He needs to be because Bernardo tells him, don't come to fight, don't do this, and he's like, well, I want to fight for my people. And Bernardo tells him no, and when Bernardo's gone, he takes matters into his own hands. The one thing too that I want to talk about is, and again, I know it's in the script, right? But if somebody shot my brother, I may not want to be with that person.
Are you questioning the original script for West Side Story? Well, that's not
Sondheim.
That's neither no, not Sondheim. He's the lyricist.
What? Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, the score, Leonard Bernstein's score, Stephen Sondheim's lyrics are just as fresh and soaring as ever in this production. I
literally wanted to clap after every number.
I did too. I felt like I was at the theater.
Yeah. But again, still that scene where where he comes in and he's, and she's punching him, and which is beautiful. But when like it's immediate, there's like no transition between her grieving for her brother and then saying "stay with me," and I know that's the script, but I would have added a couple more beats.
If you were Kushner.
If I were Spielberg.
Spielberg's not perfect then. He forgot to add beats.
I mean, he did make 1941. So he's not perfect. But I would have added a few more beats. Maybe making him walk out the door or something. I don't know. It just felt too soon, and I know it's at running time of 2 hours and 30 minutes. So, but I do think that a story like this now, is. I mean, it's timely. It will always be timely because there will always be people hating other people, and I don't know. Do you think that this story changes anybody's mind?
So this is what I saw in Rita Moreno when she's saying that last bit. She made this movie in the 60s, right? When these things were happening. Mm-hmm. She is singing about a place for us, meaning a place for all of us, not just like Tony and Maria, with tears in her eyes and just her head in her hands, like, yeah, we're still here. This is still happening. We're still here. I made this movie back in the 60s.
That's a good point.
Now, I think that's sort of what I saw in her when she was singing that number, in that breakdown and the head on the table. Just,
we're still here.
There's nothing
50,
that's better.
50 years later, 60
or
years
is maybe
later.
there's some things that are better, but these things are still
We're
happening.
still fighting, and we're still calling each other names, and we're still, shooting people we shouldn't be shooting.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think you're gonna love the film. It's a fantastic movie. Go see it.
So we've talked about what we liked, what we kind of had some reservations about, but how many stars would you give this film, Gerry? I can probably guess.
Yeah, I would give it 5, and I would give it more if I could.
You can only give it 5.
I would give it 5 because, I mean, when was the last great movie musical? What would you think? For you?
I have trouble defining movie musicals as great a lot of the time because a lot of them really are not so good. But I would say probably Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago was a great adaptation of a theater production to a film, and this was flawless to me as far as an adaptation of the original story and a moving
of a film of a
film,
Broadway musical. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, and you?
Yeah, I would give it 5 stars as well. In fact, I will go as far as to say this is probably...
You want to give it more because of Spielberg?
High five!
No, I'll give it 5 stars. It was great. I would go so far as to say this is probably one of the best movie musicals I've ever seen.
I'm just going to tell you right now.
I'm not going to say it again, but you've heard it.
You've heard that she was wrong and I was right about how great and how it's going to be a hit. He's been wrong before. I have a list. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you like what you see, and of course you do, for more, please follow Tavern Talk. And I hope that you go see this film. I think you will not regret it. I don't think you will either. See you.
Jazz hands. Bye.
Action. Oh, God. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That was great. One more time. Ready?
Oh, wait. Thank you for coming to...